I'm gonna say this right now. I don't know what the fuck this thing is,
was not genuine, and you know it. We
but you can see.
needless killing. Yes, we can.
See, that's my light. That's my flicker flame at the end of my driveway. That fucking thing does not make any damn sense.
Shit about it for 20 years, and now Pakistan is pissed off with the Taliban are encroaching on their fucking territory or touch their fucking goat. I don't know what the hell they're pissed off about this time. I just hope both teams lose. You know, we might have enough.
What did I say?
Call this the goat war.
Lens flaring. That ain't lens flaring, motherfucker. It's not.
You're about to find out with all
I know a little bit about lens flaring,
My
but
American weapons were bought and paid for because I'm not a little piece of shit.
this is fucking insane.
I have the real good shit. You don't
Like,
even
I'm
have
not
any
to focus
power,
on it.
because fucking jihadis don't know how to fly. I mean, Bin Laden did for a short period of time, but I guess you could more.
It's just sitting there.
Torpedo. Do your thing. I think I speak for all those combat sorties when I say we couldn't get.
And no, I'm seeing it with my own fucking. I'm actually looking at it right now. So,
But do you think we could maybe sell both sides more weapons? They're still gonna kill each other, but it'll be in larger numbers and faster. Historically speaking, selling weapons to both sides hasn't gone well for us. Nerd, I mean, seriously, what the fuck are they gonna do about it from all the way over there? Oh, yeah, the whole 9/11 thing. I don't know.
now you want to explain that? It kind of looks like that Booga spear. I digress.
Got your gear, got your friends. Tailgate party never ends. John F. Martin, that's the call. They can mix the best for all. Wrap it, crumble it, pile it high. Game day flavor reaching the sky. Touchdown snacks, oh what a bite. John F. Martin makes
And
it
look,
right.
car just went by and
John F.
everything else.
Martin
That
Bacon.
damn thing is
Game day
sitting
grub,
over that
game
barn
new
right
taste.
now. Whatever the fuck it is, it's giving off light that shouldn't be there. Now, I do have a thermal fucking camera when it comes to it. I'm gonna go out and fucking take it.
I have been
Oh, look.
suffering with dry eyes most of my life.
Let's see what it is.
Nutriteers by day 16.
Like I said, that
Eyes
is
dry
not
all
supposed to
day
be there.
long. Blake Nutriteers works.
Ah, yes, the time that the U.S. Navy got upset and destroyed half of Iran's entire naval fleet in a single 8-hour workday. Today we're talking about Operation Praying Mantis. But real quick, this video is sponsored by Zydax Custom Gaming PCs. They're all built right here in America with American-based tech support and a lifetime warranty. It's the computer that I use and the one that I would recommend. I'll have them linked down below if you want to check them out. Let's get to this video. Alright, important background info. 1980, Iraq decided to invade Iran. Why? Don't really care. Not pertinent to the story. However, at the end of that war, Iran decides, hey, we're going to pull a page out of the old Art of War by Sun Tzu. We're going to cut off the enemy supply lines, deprive the enemy of nice things. It's going to work out great. Iraq's got a weak navy. We're going to wipe out their navy, and then every time they send out an oil tanker through the Persian Gulf, we're going to blow that up. So they can't sell any liquid dinosaur. They can't make any money. They go broke. We win the war. Hooray. It's a solid plan. So they do exactly that. Then Kuwait comes out of left field, and they're like, hey, we've been financially backing Iraq through this entire war for the past 7 years. We need to make sure they win so we can get our money back. So we're going to go ahead and let Iraq use our oil tankers to export oil. So Iran is like, well, that's an easy problem to solve. I'll just blow up all the Kuwaiti oil tankers as well, which is exactly what they do. But here's the catch. Kuwait at this point in time is like the one major exporter of oil that wasn't really part of OPEC, meaning that they were selling oil on the global market significantly cheaper than everybody else, driving down the entire oil market. And now that their oil tankers are getting blown up as well, it means that Kuwait can no longer sell oil on the cheap, meaning that Iran has now inadvertently committed the cardinal sin of the late 20th century, raising gas prices. Now the entire Western world looks over the Persian Gulf like, the fuck? The ghost of Sun Tzu's sitting there shaking his head like, that's the one exception. I would have messed with any supply line except for that one, because we all know what happens next.
So, you want to explain what the fuck that is?
Yeah, America then proceeds to assemble the
That's a
largest
car going
naval
by.
convoy operation since World War II.
But that's
sailing
not
into the
supposed to
Persian
be
Gulf
there.
To protect Kuwaiti oil tankers. It is at this moment that Iran should have been like, well, that's unfortunate. Time to figure out plan B because this obviously is not going to work out. However, they decide that they're going to double down. What they're going to do is they're going to take a bunch of magnetic underwater mines and they're just going to spread them out all over the Persian Gulf and international
You want to tell me what the
waters.
fuck that is?
That's not going to have any consequences at all. So fast forward, April 14th, 1988, the USS Samuel B. Roberts, a guided missile frigate, which is basically brand new at this point. This is like its first big operation, is out there escorting
Just
the Kuwait
sitting
oil
there.
tanker, and it runs into a minefield, hits a mine, blows up the keel of the ship. The keel is this bottom part right here. It like
And no,
supports
that
and
is not a
stabilizes
lens
the
flare.
structure of the entire ship. And it gets blown completely in half.
Like,
At
they
this
can already
point,
hear people
the
fucking,
only
oh, this is a
thing
lens
holding
flare. No,
this
it's
boat
not.
Together is the actual
Fuck,
deck.
100%.
1 second, everything's fine. The next second,
Hey,
there's a 15-foot wide
that
hole at the
light
bottom of your ship. Everything's on fire, and water
is-
is rushing
well,
in. The USS Samuel B. Roberts.
unless
took
I get lens flare
water
from
in
my
the
own
first
eyes.
minute. This is a
Like,
catastrophic
yeah.
amount of damage that would sink 99% of ships, but as fate would have it, the crew of the USS Samuel B. Roberts had already been winning competitions for having the best damage control crew in the Navy. So the entire crew
There's
gets
your
to work
fucking
to
proof,
put
dude.
fires
Something
and plugging
is
holes.
watching
They're
us.
literally cinching the hull together with steel cables, trying to stabilize it because the only thing holding it together is the deck at this point. Over the course of the next 5 hours, the entire crew fights their ass off and somehow manages to
same
get the
thing.
situation under control and limp the ship all the way back to Dubai. where
Yeah,
they can
you
get
saw
it
a car
to
go
port.
by.
And the most incredible part of all of it, not a single American was killed.
And what's
Only
that?
10 men were injured during the fire and the initial explosion. So
I'm going
the crew
outside to
survived.
look.
The boat's basically
Like,
completely
physically
destroyed. Then America sends in an underwater crew, figure out what happened. They find the remnants of the mine. They check out the other mines. Yep, they're Iranian. At this point, now somebody has to inform the president because this is a big deal. And the president at this point in time is, let me check my notes, fucking Ronald Reagan.
I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
So they go ahead and they brief Ronald Reagan on everything that happened. He's super happy that everybody survived, and he's like, okay, well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to issue a proportional response. And what the U.S. Navy heard was, alright, so here's the plan. Iran currently has 3 oil rigs in the Persian Gulf that are not being used for drilling oil, but as military bases for the naval operations. So the U.S. Navy is going to go ahead and take out all 3 of those. Now, I don't really know what the guided missile frigate to oil rig exchange ratio is, but we're going to go ahead and err on the side of caution and say that it's not quite proportional enough yet. So Iran also really only has like 2 modern naval vessels. That's the Iranian frigate Sahand and the Iranian frigate Sabatlan. They're going to go ahead and take out at least one of those, maybe both. We'll see how proportional they want to get. And then by the time they get all that done, that should be a nice 8-hour workday. It'll be time to clock out and go get some ice cream. So in order to get all this done by quitting time, they're going to go ahead and establish 3 different surface attack groups. Each group is going to have 2 destroyers and 1 bonus ship. That bonus ship is either going to be an amphibious landing ship or a frigate. Either way, they're all going to be identified as Bravo, Charlie, and Delta. Bravo group is tasked with taking out 2 oil rigs. Charlie group is tasked with taking out the 1 remaining oil rig. And Delta's mission is to go hunt down those 2 frigates and take them out. And then, just for insurance purposes, we're also going to have the USS Enterprise parked right outside the Persian Gulf to provide air support, in case we need it. So, April 18th, 1988, 4 days after the mining of the USS Samuel B. Roberts, Operation Praying Mantis goes into full swing, and Bravo Group shows up at their oil rig first. At which point, they radio over to the oil rig and inform them that they will be blowing it up in 5 minutes and that they should all leave. So, a bunch of people start leaving. They hop in tugboats and take off. Bravo Group, seeing that they're making an honest effort to actually evacuate, agrees to give them 15 more minutes. So, fast forward 20 minutes later, they send out another radio message, hey, time's up. They then fire the 5-inch guns right over the top of the oil rig with the rounds set to airburst, hopefully scaring off any stragglers. And it is at this point that some Iranian military member decides that he is going to audition to be the main character of this story because he hops on a 23mm anti-aircraft gun and opens fire on Bravo Group. And without skipping a beat, one of the 5-inch guns on one of the destroyers just goes, nyeh, poof, and just fucking direct hit smokes this dude. Barely touches the rest of the oil rig. This guy, definitely not the main character, but the silver lining, he at least made it into the credits as Baloney Missed Cloud number 1. Now, obviously, I'm paraphrasing here, but at this point, Bravo Group radios over to the oil rig one last time, something along the lines of, hey, does anybody else need to find out what it's like to chew 5 gum, or are you fuckers ready to quit? The oil rig finally radios back and is like, yeah, yeah, please cease fire, we're gonna leave. So all the Iranian military members leave. Bravo Group decides to open up on it for a little bit with the 5-inch guns before sending over a couple of Hueys full of Marines. The Marines hop out, place some demo charges, hop back on the helicopters, take off. The entire oil rig blows up, and already things are getting more
Still there.
professional.
Still sitting there.
And while
Like I said, it's over that barn for some fucking goddamn reason. I have no clue why it's over that barn. There was another car that went by. Didn't even fucking see it. Now, my house is encased in literally like thick aluminum. The old school fucking aluminum siding. When it comes to it, it's actually pretty thick. So, yeah. And everybody like, oh, tinfoil hat. Maybe.
all that was happening, Charlie Group.
Who knows something when it comes to it? I don't.
Pretty much the exact same thing played out. The only differences were Charlie Group didn't
That
have
fucker's
Marines
still
to place
sitting
demo
there.
charges. They had Navy SEALs. And when the Iranians opened up with the 23mm anti-aircraft guns, they just decided to keep firing 5-inch shells at the oil platform until it burst into flames and burnt the entire thing to the ground. At which point, the commander of the destroyer kind of looks over at the Navy SEAls and is like,
I don't
sorry,
know
I
what
guess
that
you guys
thing
get to
is.
sit this one out.
Oh, mission got
That's not supposed to be there.
And while all
I'm
that's
gonna
going
tell
on,
you that
Bravo Group
right
started
now.
making their way over to the third oil
Kinda looks
rig,
like a
at which
Pokeball.
point they pick up something on radar, and it's definitely another enemy ship headed right towards them. And at this point, you have to remember, this is the late 1980s. None of the American sailors have seen naval warfare on this scale. The pucker factor is on. They are getting harpoon missiles ready, and they are about to get in like one of the biggest naval fights since World War II. At which point, whoever's in charge of Bravo Group decides to take a deep breath, and they're like, okay, let's send up a helicopter real quick just to verify that it's actually an enemy ship. So the helicopter goes up, radios back to Bravo Group. It's definitely a warship, but it's a Soviet destroyer. At which point everybody's like, what? What is happening right now? So they radio over to this Russian destroyer, and they're like, what are your intentions?
Blinked out.
And the Russian commander
What the
radios
fuck?
back in broken English. I swear to God, this is a quote. I'm just here to
Yep,
take
gone.
pictures for history.
Oh, kind of good.
Look, I know that I've
Still
asked in the
see it.
Soviet Union and communism every
it's
single
still
chance
there.
I get, but this time around, I
Now
gotta
they're
give it
still
to them.
holding
These guys
actually,
know how to
but-
party. Just straight up rolling into the middle of the largest naval operation since World War II to eat popcorn and watch. It's incredible. At this point, Iran finally figures out that there's something going on, but they don't really know what, so they just begin attacking any
Interesting.
ship they can find, and the first ship they found was a civilian cargo ship called the Willie Tide, that they begin attacking with Boghammer-style speedboats. So the Willie Tide radios for help. The USS
Yeah,
Enterprise responds by sending up a bunch of A-6 intruders,
Yeah, some way
as well as
around.
F-14 Tomcats. The A-6 intruders show up, start dropping cluster bombs. They end up hitting one of the speedboats and scattering the rest. The civilian cargo ship is saved. Hooray! Cutting back to
Blink
Charlie
out
Group.
again.
Now there's an Iranian fast attack ship coming right at them. So they radio over like, hey, yeah, we're kind of going around blowing up all your stuff, but also we've got a very specific list. You're not
Even
on
in
it,
my sight,
so
it's
how
gone.
about you just go away and we'll forget we saw you. The Iranian fast attack ship messages back, sounds good, we'll do that. And then they
Knew
just
my
keep
past would be a
driving right
fucking
towards them.
different
And then this
story, but-
Iranian fast attack ship gets within like 15 miles of Charlie Group, which is like point blank range for a naval battle. Charlie Group radios again, dude, what are you doing? To which they respond, I'm following orders. And then they proceeded to lock their radar on Charlie Group, which Charlie Group can see. At which point Charlie Group immediately launches 5 missiles directly at the Iranian vessel. The Iranian vessel fires a harpoon missile back at Charlie Group. Both groups now have missiles in the air screaming towards one another. The Americans launch countermeasures, shooting up chaff rockets that end up catching the harpoon missile, detonating it in midair. The Iranian vessel, on the other hand, did not have any countermeasures capable of stopping the newer technology behind the American missiles,
It's
and
still
it would
sitting
end up
there,
getting sunk
just so you
pretty much
know.
immediately.
I'm
Then,
looking
before
at
anybody
it.
can really even fully digest
I
what just
really
happened, radar picks up
It might not be
Iranian
picking up on that
F-4
fucking camera now,
screaming towards Charlie Group.
but
Charlie Group then turns,
still sitting there.
fires a bunch of surface-to-air missiles at
Like,
the
it
F-4s.
knows
The
I'm
F-4s
watching
see
it.
them coming. They're like, oh shit. They pop a U-turn and try to outrun them. F-4s, while they are extremely fast, can't outrun missiles, so one of the missiles ends up blowing a wing off one of the F-4s. Now America has taken out an entire naval vessel and an F-4 that they did not plan on taking out, and it's throwing off all of our proportions. And because of that, American leadership orders Bravo Group to stand down. We're not going to go take out that third oil rig. And right as soon as that order gets given out, Delta Group chimes in, is like, hey, we found that frigate we were looking for. So now nobody knows what to do, because on one hand, things are already getting out of control, but on the other hand, we really want to take out these frigates. So American leadership decides, well, we might not even have to make a hard decision. Maybe that's not even the frigate, and the radar's wrong. Why don't you go ahead and send a couple of A6 intruders over, do a flyby. They can verify that it's actually this new modern frigate, and if it is, we'll make a decision from there. Or so they thought, because the A6 pilots are going to decide that they are, in fact, the main characters of this story.
Yeah, like I
You
said,
see, the
it's-
USS Enterprise and its aircraft aren't really supposed to be doing a whole lot. They're more or less just there for insurance. In fact, they're only allowed to engage the enemy under one of two conditions.
All right, I did not
One, the
control
President
that
of
one.
the United States signs off on it, which is actually what happened with the speedboats earlier. Or two, they get fired upon first. So they got told to go fly by this boat to verify that it is in fact the new modern frigate, but they didn't get told how to fly by the boat, so they drop down 50 feet above the water and just gun it, and they buzz the entire ship. So the ship opens fire with its AA guns, but these planes are so low to the water, the AA guns can't actually aim down low enough, so all the anti-aircraft fire goes right over the top of them. They continue to stay low enough till they get out of anti-aircraft gun range, and then they pull up, at which point the ship launches a bunch of surface-to-air missiles at them. They drop chaff as a countermeasure, takes care of those, no big deal. They then go around, do a U-turn, send a radio message to this frigate, I'm going to sink you now. Which they can now legally do, because remember, the ship fired on them first.
Victim to one of the classic blunders.
So the A6 fires an anti-ship harpoon missile, and the second they pull the trigger on that, the fire control team from the USS Enterprise is like, what the fuck are you doing? We're not supposed to be killing things yet. And the A6s are like, look, they fired at us first. Them's the rules. And the USS Enterprise is like, holy shit, okay, I guess. Let them have it. Then the harpoon missile finally makes impact. It's a bullseye. The A6s do a U-turn, go, drop another 500-pound laser-guided bomb right through the deck of this frigate, fly past it.
And
do
most
another
people just
U-turn,
drive by,
come back,
oblivious.
drop a
Granted,
1,000-pound
they
bomb
shouldn't
on
do
it.
it,
Then
be
they
doing
radio
that
over the
anyways.
Enterprise
and
and
you'd
like,
be
yeah,
looking
it's
at it,
definitely going to sink. We're going to head back. So the A6s take off, headed back to the Enterprise, and like 5 minutes later, Delta Group shows up with their warships and begin firing on the already sinking frigate. They hit the magazine, the frigate explodes, rapidly sinks to the ocean floor. At this point, Navy leadership is like, okay, Jesus Christ, everybody stop killing things. We need to figure out what all happened. We got to keep this proportional, remember. So,
Bauer tools give you the confidence to take on challenging home projects. With hundreds
love
of
the
corded and
commercial
cordless
videos.
tools and accessories, Bauer enables you to complete tough vehicle maintenance and repairs, manage difficult landscaping projects, tackle demanding home renovations, and even turn your garage into a workshop. For all your current and future projects, Bauer is ready to deliver. Bauer, heavy duty guaranteed.
I don't think I could have ever dreamed of
Yeah,
being
see, that's the flicker flame. That was a car that just went by.
You're ready, honey, because mine's gonna knock you out.
You should grow your hair longer.
That doesn't make sense.
I'm leaving you.
Leave me, I'll kill you.
I want to bring back. I want it without him. It's my house. It's my things. I'm not gonna let him push me out.
Christie in theaters November 7th. This film is not yet rated.
So they start radioing back and forth. Everybody's figuring out what everybody did, if anybody's hurt, what's going on, the whole story. And then as the A6s are making their way back to the USS Enterprise, guess what they happen to fly past? The other modern frigate. So now the entire U.S. Navy is looking at this last frigate like SpongeBob looking at a jug of water. But also, like, realistically speaking, the A6s are pretty much out of ammunition. The only thing they have left are 2,000-pound bombs, and those just aren't going to be enough by themselves without a harpoon missile to take down this ship anyways. So
There's
they
another car
really
that
are
went
just
by.
going to fly by and verify that it's the modern frigate. So the A6 intruders go ahead. They do
I don't
fly
know
by.
what
It
the
is, in
fuck
fact,
that
the new
thing
frigate
is.
that they thought it was, and it does in fact open fire on the A6s.
I don't-
A6s make it out completely unscathed, at which point they pop a U-turn, and one of the A6 pilots is like,
It's the bullseye walk rats in my T-16 back home.
So the A6 pulls up, gaining altitude, and then dives down, aims its nose right at the frigate at like a 35-degree angle. They're doing a good old-fashioned dive bombing run like it's fucking World War II. The AA guns start firing. There's bullets whizzing past the plane, but they're committed now. They're closing in.
I'm still sitting there.
The bomb that goes behind the pilot lets the pilot know, hey, I'm locked on. At which point, bombs
And
away.
yeah, I'm staring at it right through my fucking goddamn door.
Right down the fucking smokestack.
If anybody wants, whatever, I don't give a fuck.
Destroying the entire engine room. That frigate is
Oh, you can
dead
go
in the
fuck
water
yourselves.
with no power. The A6s go ahead and radio in that they have completely disabled this frigate, at which point the American leadership calls a complete ceasefire. They're going to go ahead and let that frigate survive, get towed off, and eventually be repaired. With the U.S. Navy having effectively disabled or destroyed over half of Iran's functioning Navy, the U.S. military decides to call it a good day, ends Operation Praying Mantis. We all get to live happily ever after. Except, later that night, Iran decided that they wanted to fight a little bit more, and they launched a bunch of Silkworm anti-ship missiles at American vessels. Luckily, no American vessels were actually hit. However, this is now a huge political problem because America has been mad at the fact that Iran even had Silkworm missiles for years at this point, and the American government has made it very clear to Iran that if they ever used them, they would be going to war with America. Period. That's set in stone. So the Reagan administration, not wanting to kick off World War III in the 1980s, reaches out to the Iranian government and is like, here's what's going to happen. You're going to go ahead and admit that that was an accident. I'm going to sweep it under the rug, and we're never going to talk about it again. Because if this makes headline news and the American people...
Not supposed to be there.
...get real proportional around here. So Iran's like, okay, fine, whatever, it was an accident, let's sweep that whole thing under the rug. But I am still going to take America to international court to try to prove that it was a war crime to take out my oil rigs. That way I can get reparations and make America pay for it. So they go to international court, they lay out the case. The international court is looking at America like, okay, well, first of all...
Well, it's not moving.
People. I don't know how you think that this is
Go one
proportional,
second.
but it definitely wasn't. Second of all, according to the Amity Act, you absolutely should not have attacked their oil rigs. This is probably a war crime. At which point, the representative for America is like, well, actually, if you read the Amity Treaty between Iran and the United States, it only talks about ships and boats. It don't say shit about oil rigs, meaning I wasn't obligated to not attack those oil rigs. At which point, the court is like, Hold on. He's right, son of a bitch. Okay, well, I guess America's innocent, because I've said it once and I'll say it again. It's never a war crime the first time. And now for the best part of the entire story. America now proceeds to go over to Dubai, pick up what's left of the USS Samuel B. Roberts, tow it all the way back to Maine.
Yeah, that's
then
not
get the ship out of the water,
supposed
get it
to
in
be
dry dock,
there.
cut out the entire damaged
It's
section
kind
of
of
the ship,
spherical,
including the engine
and
compartment. Build another module to fit in its
it's
place.
been here
This thing
before.
weighs like
I'm just
300
gonna say
tons.
that. I have
They jack
video
up,
of it.
Weld it right where it's at, get everything rehooked up, reconnected. This boat is back out on the ocean 1 year later on April 1st, 1989. It then goes
I don't
on
know
to
what they
decommission
are, dude.
and serves in
I
the
don't.
Navy until 2015. I mean, playing
But
Battleship
nobody,
against America's
like,
gotta
there's a
suck,
car
right?
going
Like,
by right now.
I've sunk your frigate, and America's like, first of all, no you didn't.
Huh.
Second of all, fuck your entire Navy as it picks up your board and just throws it at the wall. So in conclusion, if you do ever find yourself being the leader of a foreign nation one day, the best advice that I can possibly give you is A, do whatever you can to not raise gas prices, and B, whatever you do not fuck with America's boats. We do not like that shit. Thank you for watching. Best way to support the channel is
No.
like, comment, subscribe, maybe go buy some merch at FatElectrician.com. Quack bang, out.
It's right off my porch, just so you know. It's close when it comes to it. I had to understand the optics of the freaking camera when it comes to it. That thing's close.
Ah, yes, that time a single U.S. submarine took on an entire
It's probably at
23-ship
the
convoy by
end of my
itself.
driveway.
Today we're talking about the USS Parchi and its
I'm sitting
commander,
there.
Lawson Red Ramage, the first submarine commander in U.S. history to earn the Medal of Honor and survive. But first, a word from our sponsor.
Yes, I like a flat electrician. I'm actually wearing one of his sweaters that says it's only war crime the first time. Just so you know.
There's no ad this week. Moving on. Ramage was born in 1909 and graduated from the U.S. Naval Academy in 1931. After graduating from the Naval Academy, he would serve on destroyers as an engineering
So
officer,
you want
a
to
radio officer,
explain to
and a
me
navigator. Then in
what
1935,
this
he
is?
decides that he wants to try out to be on the submarine. So he goes in, takes his physical, and fails immediately because his vision isn't good enough because he has an eye injury from when he wrestled in high
It's
school.
sitting
The very
right
second
there.
he fails that vision test, he makes a decision.
Right at
He
the end of my
decides that he's not
driveway.
going to let this stop him from serving on a submarine. In a demonstration of grit and determination, he decides that he is going to take that vision
All right.
test again tomorrow. And
You're gonna
unlike
see
this
some
time,
light.
next time he takes this test, he's going to fucking cheat. Because if you're not cheating, you're not trying. So as he makes his way out, he instructs a couple of his friends to memorize a different line of the vision test, gets that information from them later, puts the entire thing together, memorizes the entire vision test verbatim, and shows back up the next day ready to take this test again. So he takes the vision test, gets 100%, no problem whatsoever. At this point, the optometrist, the same optometrist from yesterday, is like, I know what you're doing. So he goes over, changes the board, and he's like, okay, now read me that one. At this point, Ramage is like, shit. But he figures, hey, we're already here, we're going to give it a shot anyways. So he covers up his bad eye first, reads the lines the doctor tells him to read, doctor tells him to switch eyes, and he goes, and recovers his bad eye again, reads the lines the doctor tells him to read. In the back of his head, he's like, I cannot fucking believe that this just worked. And the doctor is like, oh, hey, you passed. You must have just, like, had a bad day yesterday or something. And he's like, yeah.
Yeah, still
that
sitting
was
there.
it. Anyways, now he's going to submarine warfare school. So he goes off, gets trained in submarine warfare, does great, ends up getting assigned to his first submarine, the USS S-29. He works there for about 8 months, then he gets rotated over to Pearl Harbor, where he is the sound and communications officer, working directly under the commander of the entire Pacific submarine fleet. And that is where he is on December 7th, 1941, when Pearl Harbor is attacked, aka the Japanese commit the biggest cardinal sin on the planet, fucking with America's boats.
Don't you dare! If you put one fin on that boat, don't touch the Nemo! Let's drop some lead on those motherfuckers! Poor little guy. He's dead. Sharkbait!
So obviously, all of America is extremely pissed off, but Ramage is exceptionally pissed because he was actually there at Pearl Harbor when it happened. And here's the catch with that. Right after Pearl Harbor, over half the American surface fleet was temporarily out of commission due to all the damage, meaning that the only answer that America had at this point in time was a submarine fleet. To which Ramage is like, put me in a sub, I want to go get some revenge. So that's exactly what happens. He gets assigned to the USS Grenadier as a navigation officer. They go out and sink 2 Japanese ships right off the bat, and Ramage is awarded a Silver Star for his contribution. So right off the bat, Ramage is obviously doing pretty good. At this point, they decide they're going to give him his own submarine. He becomes the commander of the USS Trout. Okay, now here's the thing with being a commander of a submarine during World War II. You were only allowed to go out with the same submarine and the same crew as its commander for a total of 4 war patrols, because the leadership believed that after 4 war patrols, a commander would either become too reckless or too conservative, and they had to rotate him out. So Ramage goes through his first 3 war patrols, and they are just not going the way that he had hoped. It's not the heroic revenge that he was really looking for. After 3 war patrols, he only manages to sink 3 Japanese ships. And just to be clear, that's not for lack of trying. He goes out and finds a ton of Japanese ships and shoots an abundance of torpedoes at all of them, but every single time that he fires the American Mark 14 torpedo, it either veers off course or it hits but then doesn't blow up. It becomes very clear to Red Ramage that he, his crew, and the USS Trout are not the problem here. It is the American Mark 14 torpedo. During their second war patrol, they actually find the Japanese battleship, the Kirishima, and fire 5 torpedoes at it, and all 5 of them veer off course, miss, or are duds. Don't get me wrong, it all works out in the end because the greatest battleship commander of all time, Admiral Willis Ching Lee, ends up sinking the Kirishima with the USS Washington in the greatest battleship versus battleship conflict the world has ever seen. But Red Ramage is still absolutely furious that he didn't get that glory because he should have sank the Kirishima right then and there. So fast forward, Ramage and the USS Trout are on their 3rd war patrol. They go to sink a Japanese cargo ship. They fire 2 torpedoes at it, which is absolutely enough to take out a cargo ship. Surprise, surprise, one of them is a complete dud. The other one, like, kinda half-ass explodes, but not really, damaging the ship a little bit, and Ramage is just absolutely furious with the situation altogether. At this point, he's on his 3rd war patrol. He's only sank 2 ships so far. He is absolutely sinking this cargo ship. He doesn't care what it takes. He orders his crew to surface the USS Trout. Everybody runs out on the bridge and starts opening fire on this cargo ship with 50 caliber machine guns, anti-aircraft guns, and the 3-inch deck gun on the submarine. This is not how you're supposed to conduct submarine warfare, but also, the torpedoes are supposed to fucking explode, so whatever. So they roll up on this cargo ship, on the surface, firing
It's
at
kind of
it
like
the
shooting a
entire
gun
time, get
when it
within
comes
like
to
500 yards of it, and then shoot 2 more torpedoes at it, blowing it up and sinking it immediately. This is basically the naval equivalent of an execution. Then he finishes out the 3rd war patrol, goes back to Pearl Harbor, in person, goes to his chain of command, and is like, look, these torpedoes are garbage. They do not work. We have to do something about this. And his chain of command tells him to his face, the torpedoes work. You just don't know how to aim. This is your fault, not ours. To which point Ramage basically just throws his arms up in the air because there's literally nothing he can do other than just do his job.
I have it at
and keep
1
failing
second
because his chain of command
shutter
refuses
speed
to listen to
when it
him.
comes
So
to it,
that's what
because
he
that
does. He
fucker's
goes out
sitting
on his
there.
4th war patrol. On his 4th war
And it's not
patrol,
supposed
he
to be there.
shoots 15 torpedoes. All 15 of them are misses and duds. And the worst part is, remember I said earlier, you only get 4 war patrols as a commander before you're labeled as too conservative or too reckless. Well, because on his 4th war patrol, Ramage didn't manage to sink any Japanese ships, he is labeled as too conservative, despite the fact that he shot almost every torpedo he had, and they were all just duds. I mean, Ramage literally just did a drive-by execution with a submarine on his last war patrol, yet somehow they're going to call him too conservative, which serves to infuriate him even more because he takes it like they're basically calling him a coward. But hey, there's absolutely nothing he can do about it, so he heads back over to Pearl Harbor. That may send him all the way over to Maine, where he is to oversee the completion and commission of his new submarine, the Vallejo-class USS Parchi. So that's exactly what he does. Goes over to Maine, watches some people finish building a submarine, goes through a couple of sea trials, passes, gets it commissioned, and now he has to sail it all the way from Maine back over to Pearl Harbor before he can get back into this fight. And by the time he gets back to Pearl Harbor and gets out on his 1st war patrol with the USS Parchi, it is now March 1944. Oh.
Yo, Gregory! Look, I get it. Everyone else is having the time of their lives. Slow your scroll and experience the thrill and excitement of playing Mega Millions. Go forth and do your thing, my dude.
Okay, real quick, I need you to understand a ton has changed between early 1942, right after Pearl Harbor, when Ramage was first commanding submarines, and now mid-1944. First off, the good news, they fixed the fucking torpedoes, and those actually work now, because apparently everybody else that came after Ramage had the exact same issue, and the naval committees tried to fight it off, saying that everybody had that.
I'm seeing it with my own eyes, dude. Lens flaring is a computer optic anomaly when it comes to it.
So, Ramage was right all along about the whole torpedo thing. Now, the bad news, kind of. After the torpedoes
I think it's
started
set.
being way more effective, the Japanese
like it
started
once.
doing what America was doing over at the Atlantic. when they
feel
were
any
getting attacked by
fucking
the U-boats. They
bullshit
started
from
having
it, but
convoys of all their cargo ships
it's watching.
that were being defended by an escort of naval ships that would fight off the submarines. And now Japan is doing that. So America copied what Germany did, and they are now sending out submarines as groups in wolf packs to hunt down these convoys together.
Right there.
Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but the majority of submarine commanders are not happy about it because they liked the idea of going out there alone, being in complete control of the situation, and having command over everything and everyone around them. And now they have 2 other submarines that they have to worry about, and each wolf pack has its own commander over the entire operation, as well as each submarine having its own commander. And the wolf pack commander is on somebody else's submarine, so one of the 3 subs in the
I don't know
wolf
what the
pack
fuck
is going
it
to have
is.
this weird power dynamic
And-
where there's like
Look,
the
I'm just
overall
listening-
mission
I'm
boss
watching
there,
YouTube
but that guy's
when it
not in
comes to it.
control of the sub, but he kind of is because he's in control of the whole operation.
I grew up in the
And it just
military,
makes the whole
so yeah.
situation awkward. So Red and his new ship, the USS
Kinda like
Parchi,
this
go
shit,
out on
but-
patrol. They're with the USS Bang and the USS Tenosa, and things are already looking up. In their first patrol, the Wolfpack sinks 5 ships, and the Parchi is credited with 2 of them. The second war patrol, however, shit's going to get a little bit out of hand because Red, Ramage, and the USS Parch draw the short straw, and they have to have the Wolfpack commander on their submarine, creating an awkward awkward power dynamic between Lawson Red Ramage, the commander of the USS Parch, and the commander of the Wolfpack, Lou Parks. And they pretty much immediately get off on the wrong foot because Lou Parks shows up and is like, hey, let's call our Wolfpack Parks' pirates because I'm Lou Parks, I'm in charge, and you guys can be my pirates. It'll be great. To which Ramage is like, I'm not playing second fiddle to anybody. Hear me out. What if we call our Wolfpack the Headhunters because I'm a red...
It's there for a reason. I don't know why. I'm not even going to speculate why. Because I already know. But...
In 1921, the British government...
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back.
You don't use our military. The Springfield Armor.
Our car. Crickets are going and everything else. I don't know what that thing is. I really don't. My car. Maybe not car, but distinctively familiar. That thing's been in our sky for, probably about 2 years now. I think this away is that little fucking, like, it looks like a moon type deal, like if you were looking at a planet. Yeah. Looks like my uncle always said fucking planet, the terminology of planet is wanderer. Still sitting there. Yep. Still sitting there. That's another car going by. Yeah, that's pretty fucked up. With my stomach growls. I'm telling you, they don't like being watched either. Notice how it's all centered? Where the ridicule is. It's on that light. Remember, that's a flicker flame. Like, it moves. Like, blah, 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 blah. That's not moving. And it's perfectly spherical. Congratulations. I'm just sitting there. Why? I'm literally right outside my fucking house. I'm standing in my kitchen drinking a beer and staring at the Xbox fucking home screen. This is what it is. Change the shutter speed back to auto. Can't say it. Well, tenth of a second. Eighth, sixth, quarter. Still sitting there. Yep. Just so you know, it's not lens flare. Same thing is sitting there. Lens flare changes, correct? That's not lens flaring. I'm gonna take a screenshot of that shit. Oh, I can. You get drunk. I don't give a shit. I know my past when it comes to it. That's perfectly spherical. There's no way now. Yeah, look at that. No way in hell. Okay. Explain what that is. But Another car going by. No, that thing's not supposed to be there. Just saying. It's scanning. Well, why here? Yeah, that's kind of fucking nuts. Fucking nuts. There's literally an object outside of my house. Just sitting here. That's close enough. The funny thing is, everybody's like, oh, it's a lens flare. No, I'm watching it with my own eyes. And if you actually see the dwarf 3 telescope when it comes to it, it's kind of like, alright, so imagine if you had one eye that could telescope in and one that just saw everything. That's what the dwarf 3 is. Oh. It's scanning. they're doing somewhere. I don't know what the fuck it's doing. Too many damn movies, too many damn video games, too many damn fucking animes. But then you see it for yourself. Welcome to the DLC. Ticky tack. That's what it is. It looks like a fucking tic tac. And it's still sitting there. Still sitting there. And it's over by the deck. And it's in the direction of that fucking barn. We're going to that. I know it's closer than what it is. Another car going by. I don't know funny how that white spot, that one little white spot there, doesn't ever change. We're gonna put another car, but it's always that bright. Everything else, that is 100% a fucking goddamn gravitational bubble. It's a fucking bubble when it comes to it. Big bubble. Well, everything tiny, but how you going? Still sitting there. What? Car go by. Oh, fuck. Those are bright ass fucking LEDs, dude. Still sitting there. Another car. Like I said, do you want to explain what the fuck this thing is? No, again, yeah, I'll fuck take any explanation. Like I said, explain the pyramids. I don't care anymore. I don't. There's things up there floating around that don't make sense. But nobody sees them. That damn thing is just sitting there. And the oblivious fucking retards of all your fucking species just keeps going, just stare at my phone. Turn this into the Borg. Like I said, that's not a lens flare. Yeah. Not even in the least bit. My bright ass fucking LED fucking. I don't blame them for having it. I don't. Gotta say. Holy fuck, it's bright. Especially when you're looking at it, you get blasted. Still sitting there. Yep. These have fucking juice in them. Juice galore. Juice for days. I just put on my fucking night vision goggles. I'm done with this shit, dude. No, it's still there. What was there? Just all tired. Still there. But disappeared on that fucking thing. It doesn't like being watched. I'm not kidding you.